And likewise, when the Kodesh Baruch Hu comes to Adam Rishon and says to him, Ayeka, Chazal point out, the Gematria of Ayeka is actually 36 because actually it's Eicha, as we see in this week's Parashah, Eicha, and then on Tisha B'Av this Eicha, right, 36, because this is what a Kodesh Baruch Hu is, in essence, is asking Adam Rishon after he does the Chet. He says, where is the light? You were created to the Megala, to reveal this light in Ma'aseh Bereshis, that your whole tafkid is to take the light that I hid and reveal it. That's your job, to bring it out. And then the world becomes perfected. And that's how you become a partner with me in the fixing of Ma'aseh Bereshis, by revealing the light. So Chanukah does that. The Mesiras Nefesh, the miracle of Chanukah, does it because it's Persumi Nisa, reveals the Kodesh Baruch Hu Ma'aseh Bereshis. 25 is the number while it's still hidden, so therefore the Shema, the creed of the Jewish people, has 25 letters, and we're supposed to be an Or L'Goyim Alad into nations, because our job is to do that. Torah mitzvahs help us to locate the light within creation and to reveal the light within creation. The Mesiras Nefesh, the self-sacrifice, to do the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that, like squeezing the olive to produce the oil that you can then light and make light from, likewise, the doing of mitzvahs and the performing of mitzvahs and learning of Torah squeezes the individual and allows through the person his own neshama and the light to come out into the world. The light of 36. So how do you do that? You add 11. 25 plus 11 equals 36. Okay, mathematically that's 100% true, but conceptually, Kabbalistically, is that the idea? So the answer is yes, because 11 symbolizes the concept, the 11th sphera, which is called Das. Das is not just knowledge in this case, but it's godly knowledge. Creation is all about Das, all about bringing the Das of God into the world. When the Das of God, the knowledge, the godly knowledge of Torah is brought into the world, evil is destroyed, good triumphs, and the world becomes perfected. So whenever Das, which is what Torah is all about, which is why it's called Torah's Das Torah, whenever Das is used as a method, as a means to bring the light out of creation, which is hidden and revealed to mankind, so then it results in 36. 25 subtract 11 equals 14. Now this is kind of a long story, but the Kitzer, Nimrat, as I say very, very briefly, 14 represents the levels of creation that the light did not get to, did not penetrate to, when God was first making Ma'aseh Bereshis, in order, for the sake of leaving over something for man to perfect or complete it. The light had gone all the way down to the bottom of creation, so then creation would have been perfected from day one. There'd be nothing for man to do. So therefore, Kodesh Baruch Hu left over 14 levels, and that's the place that evil was allowed to exist. So what happens? The same light, right, if you take away 11, not only does it not result in 36 and reveal the light, but it hides the light even more deeply by allowing evil to penetrate into creation and to force its way upon mankind and disrupt the godly way of living. It blinds people. It's the klipot, it's the spiritual klipot. And the reason why this is true, as Kabbalah explained, is because when HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Ma'aseh Bereshis, he left over 11 lights. The lights were, the sparks went down. Again, this is all the basis of very complicated Kabbalah, the Arizal explains. But the lights went down, the sparks went down. The sparks, lights is the same idea. They went down, and to make Ma'aseh Bereshis, a process of birur took place where the Kodesh Baruch Hu then took those sparks and he rectified them and elevated them back to their source, but left over 11 lights. 11 lights were left down at the bottom amongst the klipot. And the main point over here is that 11 lights were left unrectified, and that's for mankind to do. That's what the Jewish people are here to do. That's what it means to be an Or L'Goyim, allowing to nations to use the Torah and mitzvahs for the sake of elevating those final 11 lights, to rectify them, send them back to the source. And that's the equation, 25 plus 11 equals 36. All that goes wrong in Ma'aseh Bereshis, the Meraglim, the Beis HaMikdash, the first Beis HaMikdash being destroyed, the second Beis HaMikdash being destroyed, it's all a function of these 11 lights that have yet to be rectified. As the Medrash points out, if the Jewish people had been zoichet to make this 11-day journey, they would have conquered the 11 klipot that are the basis of the 11 chieftains of Esav. Right? Esav has 11 chieftains mentioned in chapter 36 of all places in the Chumash, because the basis of Esav's reality of his world is the 11, the negative 11. So you have positive 11 and you have negative 11, which goes back to the Eitz Das Tova Ra. Another way of saying, what's Eitz Das? The tree of knowledge of good and evil, which means there's good knowledge and bad knowledge. The good knowledge is the positive 11, and the bad knowledge is the negative 11, built into one tree. Both are a potential. So when Adam eats from the Eitz Das Tova Ra against the will of God, he actually taps into the negative 11, which makes him more physical and defiles the entire creation, throwing mankind into exile for thousands of years. Right? So therefore, Kodesh Baruch Hu is Ayaka. He's Ayaka, meaning where are you? But there's no such thing as Ayaka anywhere in the entire lexicon of Judaism, of the Torah, of the Hebrew language. But Ayaka is a gematria. Meaning what? Meaning the 25, Ayako. Where is 25? Where's the light of 25 with which I made my separation that you're supposed to reveal? Ayaka, the gematria is equal to 36. Where's the light of 36 that you're supposed to bring to creation? It's all the same idea. So therefore, this week's parshah, and when Yirmiyahu says Eicha, he's asking the same question. How did all this happen? How did the Beis HaMikdash get destroyed? How did you wander for 40 years in the Midbar? As the Medrash, the Gemara points out, in Eicha, it's an acrostic. It's alphabetical, right? All the different stanzas. But the Pei is placed before the Ayin. Normally in the Hebrew Aleph base, Ayin comes before Pei. But the Pei here comes before the Ayin. Not because Yirmiyahu forgot the Aleph base, but because he was making a statement. So the Gemara explains. Because the Meraglim spoke about things they did not see. But they did see them. Of course they saw them. Right? As we mentioned last week. But they didn't see correctly. Why not? Because the 11, the negative 11, blinds a person to truth. You can be frum and still be blind. Okay, you're less blind than the person perhaps is not frum. But what allows a person to be able to misperceive reality and see the wrong thing is this 11. It's like cataracts, spiritual cataracts over the mind's eye of an individual. It's blinding us. It's making us flip-flop our priorities until we lost sight of the long-term national goals of the Jewish people. Until we forget, like the Meraglim in the Midbar, why we left Mitzrayim in the first place. I took you out of Eretz Mitzrayim to bring you to Eretz Canaan to be your God. End the story. It's a very simple sentence. A very simple pasuk. What happened? I did not take you out to take you to the Midbar to be your God, but to Eretz Canaan. Now, which word didn't you understand? Oh, we lost sight of our priorities. This is Rashi point. The Torah points this one's Parashah. When God finally lowered the boom and said, "Here's the truth," they all went, "Oh, now we see it. Now we're walking up. Now," God says, "Too late. You're supposed to come to this on your own. You're supposed to develop the positive 11 on your own. You're supposed to conquer the distance on your own. If you had done it in the first place, 40 years would have been 11 days instead. And not just 11 days, but you would have taken the land, conquered all the enemies as opposed to leaving some Canaanim alive, which then just furthered the problem more and more as time went on, and eventually led to the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, and all that happened since then unto this very day. Everything went wrong because of that. If we only had conquered the 11 days, which meant conquering the 11 klippas, the 11 spiritual incrustations of Esav in this world, if we only had elevated these 11 lights of the Malchus and brought them back to where they belong, and transformed the negative 11 into the positive 11, that would have pulled out the light of 25 from Ma'aseh Bereshis, eradicated all the evil. And instead of mourning this 9th of Av, instead we'd be celebrating not just the birth of Mashiach, the arrival of Mashiach, but the return of the Beis HaMikdash and the Shechina to Tzion. The one who made Ma'aseh Bereshis, and the one responsible for all of history and all that we've come to become to this very day, should turn Tisha B'Av into a day of celebration, from a day of mourning, and the entire Jewish people should know once again what it means to be Am Yisrael, Mechas Kohanim, under the country of Shechina.